Hi everybody, it's Amy here from Loyola Songwriting, and this week is our last class of the week, and we're going to be talking about increasing your melodic repertoire and your melodic palette by using the modes of the major scale. I'm not sure if you guys have studied this in your traditional music theory classes, but if you have and you've been intimidated by them in the past, I want you to rest assured that I'm not going to make you sing these or play these or be able to identify them by ear. All I want to do is introduce them to you so you can have a larger sonic palette to pull from to create your melodies. So let's jump right into it. What is a mode? A mode is when you take a major scale and instead of starting on the 1, you start on a different degree of that scale. And there's names for all of them, and they all have different vibes and different melodic textures. And so we're going to be exploring all of these today. So if we start on the 1st degree of the major scale, that gives us a what? It gives us a major scale. All right, we're all very familiar with that sound, right? This has its own special name, and it's not major scale if you're talking about modes. It's called Ionian. I believe this is a Greek term, Ionian. These might all be Greek terms, actually. So Ionian is another name for the major scale. That's all it is. It's just calling it by another name, Ionian. So once we start on a different degree of this scale, that's when it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So the 2nd degree of the scale is called Dorian. And Dorian is a minor scale. And I like to think of it as kind of a more subtle and elegant type of minor sound. And the reason why I think it's a little bit more elegant and gentle is that last step over here is a whole step. Now with like a melodic minor or a harmonic minor, there's a half step just like there is in a major scale, going from the last note to the root, to the high root there, that is. But in a Dorian, we have a flatted 7th. So let's just play around on that a little bit and see what we come up with. So I'm just going to hit like a D minor 7. So it has kind of an airy, open quality to it. And it's very commonly used, the Dorian scale. Like pretty much like every Sade song is a Dorian scale. And you might not know who Sade is, but check her out, she's awesome. Okay, so we have Ionian based on the 1st degree. Dorian is on the 2nd. Next we have Phrygian, which is also a minor. Now this minor is a little bit more acerbic. It's a little bit more potent, and it can have a menacing or really mysterious kind of sound to it. I think when I listen to it, I think it sounds a lot like, I hear a lot of like Middle Eastern scales or melodies based on this scale. And what makes it so cool is there is a flatted 2nd and a flatted 3rd. So we have a half step here, and then a whole half, whole. So let's just listen to what that sounds like, because we're going to be starting on what degree now? We're down to our 3rd degree, which would be Do, Re, Mi. We're starting on Mi. In the key of C, that would be E. So our 3rd degree, or in the key of C, or if we're using a solfege term, the Mi, okay, as in Do, Re, Mi. So let's listen to what this one sounds like. That right there is what gives its Phrygian its signature sound, that half step between its root and its 2nd. you hear what I'm talking about when I say it has a mysterious kind of menacing type of sound? Phrygian. Now, Phrygian, of course, is used in a lot of songs, but all the examples that I gave you in your email, except for one, are hip hop songs, because Phrygian is, strangely enough, used a lot in hip hop. One great example of a song that uses a Phrygian mode is Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg. With so much drama in the LBC, it's kinda hard being Snoop D-O double G, but I somehow, some way keep coming down. Okay, so you get it, right? All right, Phrygian. Okay, moving on. The next one we're going to encounter is Lydian. So this one is a major scale, right? So we've only encountered, besides our root scale of Ionian, we've only encountered minor up till now. But once we get to that 4th degree, we're starting back we're coming across a major scale, the Lydian scale. And the Lydian is one of my personal faves because it's a major scale, but has a bit of a melodic question mark in it. There's when you hear a song based on a Lydian scale, there's a certain, I just keep saying question mark about it. There's a bit of, it's like a major scale that's hiding a deep dark secret. It has an expectant quality, or it has a foretelling to it, like, you know, there's something that's going to happen. You know, it has a sense of urgency, or a sense of instability, I guess, and that's probably what makes it have that sense of urgency. Is there's a melodic sense of instability towards the end of this scale. So we have it's built. By the way, these W and H's are the scale degrees of each individual scales, these modal scales. So like Lydian is built upon a whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, so let's take a little gander, or a listen rather, and check out what a Lydian scale sounds like. Okay, so this is built upon the 4th degree of a major scale. So if we're doing the solfege, that would be fa, do, re, mi, fa. Or if we're just talking about the actual note itself in the key of C, that would be playing a C major scale starting on F. Okay, so here's what this sounds like. So instead of the traditional 4th step of this, it's raised. Instead of, that would be a traditional major scale, right? So in a Lydian, that same 4th note in the scale is raised up a half step, and that's what gives it that question mark. Na, na, na. It's a tritone from there back down to the root. So that tritone, so it's basically a major scale that has a tritone in it, right? Well, a famous song that I could just play for you is Part of Your World from Little Mermaid. Lydian scale, right? Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Actually, I think I'm singing that wrong key, but you get the impression. Look at this stuff. There we go. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? So that's all built upon a Lydian scale, and I do apologize for singing that out of key. All right. The next one we're encountering is another major scale. This one's called a mixolydian scale. So we just add on the prefix mixo to the Lydian word that we had on our degree, one less degree. Okay, mixolydian. And this one has kind of a bluesy vibe. So, and the reason why it has that bluesy vibe is because there's a half step leading to the high root. So there's a flatted 7 in it. So it kind of sounds like this. So we're starting on G in the key of C on the 5th degree. That would be so, do, re, mi, fa, so. Blues scale, right? I know you've heard that chord changed about 1 billion times. There's a ton of songs using a Mixolydian scale. For instance, Sweet Home Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Mixolydian scale. Also, Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses. She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood. Flatted 7. Memories wherever for everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky. Lady Gaga, Born This Way. My mama told me when I was young, we were all born superstars. Madonna, Express Yourself. Express yourself. Express yourself. Hey, hey. And if you wanna know, you're gonna know. All right, so you get the gist of it. Mixolydian, and that's the most common use of Mixolydian scale in melody. I think is to go from that 1 to the flat 7 to the 4 chord change. All right. The next one is one we're familiar with. It's the natural minor. Aeolian is what we think of as a natural minor. So I know that you've gotten that in music theory. So this starts on the 6th degree of a major scale. So if we think of, minor keys, how they relate to major keys, it's always up by 1/3, right? So it makes sense that, or rather it's down by a minor 1/3 from a major. It makes sense that an Aeolian mode would be built upon that 6th degree of a major scale. All right, so let's listen to what this one sounds like. We've all heard this one before. That's a Dorian. That's an Aeolian. All right, so that one we're familiar with, right? This last one, Locrian, is the weirdest one of all of them, and he's the hardest to use because he's built upon a diminished scale. So this one starts on the 7th of a major scale. So that would be La Ti Ti. T T T. All right, here we go. That's what a Locrian sounds like. Yeah, the 1, 3, 5 of that scale is, it's a diminished. So that one doesn't come in as handy as the other ones. That one's kind of the oddball out. All right, so to summarize, we have 3 majors, 3 minors, and 1 diminished mode. The 3 major modes are Ionian, Lydian, and Mixolydian. The 3 minor modes are Dorian, Phrygian, and Aeolian. And then this last one is built upon a diminished triad. So that's Locrian. He's all by himself. Lone guy out, right? Poor Locrian. He's so sad. So I want you to take this knowledge and listen to the suggested song list and just kind of listen to these songs that I've suggested for you. Sorry, my 3-year-old just woke up. Listen to these songs I've suggested for you and check them out and try to just take the information in and let it kind of wash over you, and you'll start to get a real good idea of what each one of these modes sounds like. All right, well, have a great weekend. It's Friday, even though what does that even mean anymore? I don't know. Happy quarantine times. Have a great quarantine weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Don't forget, we have your songwriting project due April 1st, and I want a song recording and your song lyrics to me by what would have been our normal class time, which would be 11:30 a.m. All right? So best of luck. Contact me if you have any questions about your project or in general. And stay safe. Bye, guys.